Shadow, sorry, it's going to leave Sheer as a very strong pickup in this top lane. Not really anybody who particularly wants to be getting through tanks. And we highlighted it, right? The Kai'Sa in these...
way to escape, and nothing will happen at the end of the day. In the bot lane, the top laners are currently dueling things out. Equalizer utilized by Cube to generate a little bit of priority, and now he will maybe rotate his way back up to the mid lane as well.
Very interesting to see all of this map rotation and movement in the exact same way as we saw previously. I wonder if teams are just very used to it at this point, as Care just about is able to avoid that seismic shove. Otherwise, that would have been probably his
Decided
flash.
to hang out in the enemy river, in the topside river, and Monkey was like, sure, let's go for a fight. Karis ends up roaming up really nicely with the Weaver's Wall, and they're able to get ahead early, and that is exactly the recipe for success if you're Team WE.
Now we do have both the Drake and the first set of grubs, only set of grubs available on the map right now. WE, they've got priority up in the top side, and they had priority in the mid lane as well, so this should be relatively easy to step up and attempt to take these. You now need to just pick up one to get yourself a little buff, and it's 2 or 3 where you're going to start to get those Void Mites to help you out. There's going to be absolutely no response, so it's going to be all 3.
Die after... they saw 3 members
Taeyeon
jump on
was
his head.
very dead in that situation, right? There was absolutely no way that Taeyeon was going to be able to survive that one. Didn't flash, didn't cleanse. There was no point. He was CC'd and dead instantly. You're right, Monkey didn't necessarily need to pull the trigger like that, but that's the way Monkey is. He's a very aggressive player. He really likes to put his team on his back. Doesn't like to watch any of his carries go down, get killed. We do now see a little bit of aggression here around the bottom side of the map towards this Drake. This is a full 6.5 minutes after that first Drake spawn. This is very late to be trying to play around this objective.
Yeah, the first dragon's still up, so a lot of opportunities to maybe play for things if they want to. Monkey right now around that bottom side, as the mid laners have kind of rotated down there. Meanwhile, Shadow up top lane, maybe looking for a play alongside Sheer on a cube. Already the unstoppable onslaught pop. There comes the dump forward from Shadow, and a very easy kill picked up from FPX.
There we go. Both of these junglers very proactive on the map at the moment. Exactly what we want to see from Shadow after he'd had some inactivity issues. The response is going to be the Drake down on the bottom side, as one would expect. So early on, WE, they have been able to be in control of these objectives, but still being able to get a kill here onto your Neferi, so key. The Neferi is going to be a big part of being able to win, because there's a ton of squishy, high damage carry options that you want to be trying to play for. Both Cube... Oh, hang on. Shadow.
Oh, nice
right.
cancel from Shadow. Using the untargetable to get away from that depth charge. We'll see if it matters, though. The Chain of Corruption hits from Taeyeon. Nice flash ulti from him, and it should result in Shadow going down, and a nice chunk of gold going over to the Varus.
Oh, I really didn't think that Chains of Corruption was going to hit. Looked like it was on the very edges of the hitbox. Well done to Taeyeon for being able to hit that one. Now you're going to be able to pick up a huge amount of damage onto this tower. Turret plate still available, obviously. We're only nearly 13 minutes into this game. This is more and more gold that you can be pumping into your bot lane. But here onto Monkey and Karis. These two are in an incredibly strong position at the moment. And then Taeyeon also being the beneficiary of a couple kills too. Have a look at what went on in the bottom side. Obvious place to be teleporting in. Immediately gets that one cancelled out. And because you get that one cancelled out, that's a huge chunk of damage that goes down. And Karis, does he just ulti forwards? Or does he just walk this one up?
We are greeting for this wave.
Yeah. Yikes. That's 2 really, really well executed seismic shoves there. And yet, you managed to pop Karis off of the Weaver's Wall, but really not going to help out. We'll have a look back at what ended up happening topside, but there's nothing too much to it, right? It's a good Magnet Storm attempts out of his way to pull a couple members in. That delays the death of his friends, but not enough.
And just overall taking a look at this fight as a whole, nicely done by Monkey to find himself a couple of kills, and then Sheer just doesn't have any damage after the rest of his team does go down on that top side. So nicely done from WE. They picked themselves up a solid advantage at the 15-minute mark. However, we have always seen FPX be able to pull themselves out from certain deficits, and the gold lead is 3,000. That is certainly not an impossible level to climb out of, as FPX still looks like they want to try to fight things out a little bit here, as they're the ones actually starting up the Rift Herald.
WE, they can potentially go and try play around this one. Jouet could have a bit of a flank right now, and you can see the hesitancy out of WE. They don't know where everyone is.
Yeah, Monkey's not in the area for Smite just yet, but here comes that Grand Starfall. Shadow already has to pop the untargetable, but assume diving on the back line, taking down Taeyun, and Jway somehow gets the Rift Herald.
Back at it right now, and this is the thing with these double semi-global ultis, is that you could just immediately lay them down on top of each other, get into this fight in just one tap, and this was it. I was looking down on the bottom side of the fight, but on the top side, Monkey just immediately gets to take down his opposition number in Shadow. And once the Nefari's gone, that's a ton of the early game
won this
damage.
matchup in the last match time that these two teams faced off, and that was not a result that was necessarily expected at the time, but the way WE have been playing, I mean, this is certainly starting to become the norm here for this team.
Absolutely, they've been looking better and better and better with time. It really is good to see this team be aging like this, to be maturing. The way that they've been playing around this very proactive, very aggressive jungler has been great. I think Monkey very much needs teams who are happy to go in with him, who don't just watch him go flying into the backline and go, well, I guess we're going to back off now. No, he needs a fully aggressive team with him, and WE, they've been really stepping up for him recently. At this point in the game, though, things are in a little bit of a lull. This is the difference, right, with this new patch. We do now have little pockets of time where we have time to breathe, think about what the next play is going to be. Apparently, the answer is a dive onto Cube.
Yeah, it's going to match. Teleport from Karis is coming in, and there's just not enough DPS to put down onto this Rumble, who immediately pops the Equalizer and might look to try to turn things around a little bit here. In comes Jway as well as Vampire, but it's going to be the WE
1,000 gold, the advantage right here for WE. Right before the next big set of objectives are going to be spawning. Atakan 30 seconds away, and then 3 minutes until the next Drake is on the map.
Team WE looking very poised to potentially be on the way to a 5th straight victory. Again, they have currently the longest active win streak in the LPL. TS did have it for a little bit, but anyone's Legends put a stop to that one. So now it is Team WE, potentially one of the hottest teams in the league right now. And that is not something many people would have said or said could have been even a possibility going into this 2025 season. But that is what we have started to see from some of these newer players. Of course, Monkey coming in and being that kind of switch up that they might have needed going into split number 2.
Exactly.
And these Korean carries and Karis and Taeyun starting to continue to become better and better as their young careers
obviously
continue.
From the Ruinous Atakan, plus on kills you get a little bit of a slow, a little bit of extra movement speed, some more adaptive force and everything. It's not the biggest buff overall. It's not as insane as we were seeing right at the very start of Split 1, where, that Ruinous, that Voracious Atakan, they were completely overtuned, completely insane, especially those revives from Voracious. Right now, Thornbound, I think it's in a much better overall spot, but it's definitely the sort of buff you do want to be grabbing for yourself. WE going to be more than happy with that trade.
It definitely gives you still an advantage, which is what we are excited to potentially see here for the side of Team WE. Gold lead hovering around 5,000, kind of for the last 5 minutes or so. But FPX certainly still not in the best position overall here in this game. Currently down to Dragons as well. The third one on the Ocean Rift will be
down
spawning
on the bottom side of the map. Yeah, you can see multiple members right here of WE have headed down to be able to pick this one up for themselves, and that is now going to be sole point available for WE.
And things really starting to fall apart here for FunPlus Phoenix as another play might be opening up here. Monkey gonna go in with the Grand Starfall, immediately get knocked up by the disadvantage smash, and just one shot. And now FPX have the angle that could potentially turn this game around. A charm lands on a Taeyun. Assume jumps in with a killer instinct. And now it is WE who have to be on the retreat. Their soul laners are still alive. They still do a lot of damage, but FPX go
Worry,
3.
right, for WE. Yes, they're very good at getting themselves early leads through the aggression of Monkey, but the aggression of Monkey doesn't stop at any point. He continues to be aggressive throughout the entirety of the game. Sheer currently in the bottom side. Oh, Shadow, no.
Nice usage of that untargetable here. Gonna keep him alive. Oh, Care! Flash away for the dredge line. Only landing the charm on a Vampire. But here comes the choo-choo train. Sheer jumping in with that unstoppable onslaught. Is a little bit far forward. Finally going in. And now it is Jway who gets locked up by the chain of corruption and taken down. The front line of FPX going a little bit too far forward. And that'll cost them 2 more kills as WE can now turn their sights towards the Baron.
You've still got a couple of high damage carries available for FPX or WE. They need to be careful. Need to play Gatekeeper right here. Stop Shadow from being able to get into the pit and potentially steal this Baron away. They've done the hard bit at the start of this fight, though, getting down these main tanky carries.
Vampire looked for a hook on a carry, not able to find it. That Baron is going to get taken down with ease as nobody from FPX can jump in without their front line alive. Assume not even going for the play, instead try to burst down this tier 1. But now Monkey jumping in with a Grand Starfall, going to try to take him down. Assume will survive at least for a little bit longer, but the Weaver's Wall has found Care, and Taeyeon will take him down. Another kill going the way of Team WE. And now it is the 2 carries left alive that are not in a very good situation. There's no empowered recalls. Assume will drop. It's a delayed, but still almighty ace picked up for Team WE with the Baron now in their hands.
FPX, they greed a little bit to try to
what looked like maybe a turnaround for Team FunPlus Phoenix. Certainly starting to fall apart a little bit. Assume is strong, don't get me wrong, 3.5 items, but hey, Taeyeon's right there as well, and the big difference is where the rest of his team currently is at. Monkey is 3,500 gold ahead of this Nefiri. Karis is really having himself a good game. He's had to die in this first matchup between these 2 teams in the best of 3. And Team WE once again in solid control of this one. Just need to make sure they don't make any more unnecessary mistakes here as Vampire
very
up in the aggression here. Weaver's Wall comes out from Karis, but Joy will be able to jump on out with a crash out. And so mid lane will become the priority here. Only one lane is being played right now for WE, but they just want to try to force this one down.
Shadow's got a little bit of a flank on right now, but I don't know if he's going to be able to step up.
Gonna stop a onslaught. It is not going to find a target. Vampire goes in onto Jue, and they will take the Rel down with ease. Sheer the next target. The Chain of Corruption follow-ups onto Assume, and that means that he's going down as well. Shadow very far away, very isolated from the rest of his team, and that means Team WE can ignore him and instead turn their sights to the base.
Yeah, they've still got these Baron-empowered minions pushing forwards. Care, the only member right here, trying to defend at this point. Not going to be able to stop the inhibitor tower going down. Not going to stop the inhibitor from falling. And actually, with the base TP coming through as well, WE, they want to close this one out.
It's just over, folks. It's Team WE marching into the base of Team FPX. And that will be how this Game 1 concludes. Couple of back and forths, a couple of wacky team fights overall, but WE looking to repeat history as they take Game 1 of this best of 3 series.